All right, are you guys ready for a brand new, jam-packed DCU update? Now, the reason I haven't posted in a while is the fact that there hasn't been a whole lot of factual information thrown out on the internet recently. We're going to talk about a lot of the rumors. I'm going to talk about stuff that's fact, and I'm going to talk about some of the things I've picked up on through the dialogue of the people exiting and also James Gunn himself. So let's talk about some of the rumors that have been floating around out there. Now, I also have a big rumor. The biggest rumor I'm going to talk about at the end of the rumors here is the date on which everything is going to be revealed for the DCU. And there hasn't been confirmation on this, and this is why I put a big grain of salt on it. Now, before I get started, I did want to show everybody something. My family knows I'm a DC fan, obviously, and my daughter loves making cups. And she made this cup for me. It's out of resin, and she's got Batman and Superman, my favorite images from both of these characters from Jim Lee. And she made this cup for me to have here in my studio, which I think is pretty awesome. So I got this as a Christmas gift. Yeah, she loves making those cups, and I was happy to receive that. All right, so let's talk about some of these rumors. First of all, there was a big rumor that was immediately debunked by James Gunn himself that the Green Lantern show has been canceled and that they were going to be going, directly into the movies and all this other stuff. And he came out and immediately called the report fake, but he did not elaborate. So these reports, there's probably going to be some truth to them, some not. What's interesting, and this is going to tie into something I'm going to talk about in a little bit, is that the guy who does Game of Thrones, JRR, whatever his name is, I can't remember off the top of my head, but he came out and said that his shows are no longer safe because of the changes that Warner Brothers is going through and everything. I'm going to talk about what has driven to this point. Their stock is lower than it has ever been, and everything that they're doing now are basically because of cost-saving measures, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit. There's also a rumor out there that Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot got together and had a meeting over Zoom, and I don't know if there's any truth to this, to see what their options are of suing Warner Brothers Discovery and Warner Brothers in general because of all of the issues that it has caused their careers, the contracts that they had, and the fact that they have been led on and on and on for the last 9 years and kind of left in limbo, and how it has damaged their careers and kept them from doing some of the other stuff they may have wanted to do. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but that's another big rumor that I keep seeing floating around all over social media. So let's talk about the biggest rumor here, which is the fact that supposedly on the 6th of January, they are going to reveal all of the DCU projects that are planned thus far and give us some information. There's supposed to be a special event held. Again, I see no confirmation in regards to this at this point, but there is some, I'm sure something is coming early next year, and James Gunn is going to have to do something to kind of calm the fans down. I'm still in the camp that I'm not going to be supporting their stuff going forward, that I'm going to be happy with what I have. I will still be covering everything, and I know I get some flack for that, if you're not going to go see it, why cover it? But I am a review channel and a DC fan, so I will still be covering this stuff, even though I may not support it, so that you guys will still be updated on everything that is going on. The biggest report coming out recently is that the reason Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, and all Jason Momoa and all these big guys are being let go is because of money, which I tend to believe, because they are hurting for money, and they don't want to pay for these actors. And James Gunn has said he's just slipping a younger person into the role of Superman. He will not be meeting the league for the first time. So there is a possibility they could be continuing on with the stories and this DC universe, but with different actors in the roles, and they're going to use the Flash to kind of put those actors into place. And there's a rumor that at the end of that movie, we will see at least the new Superman and maybe some of the other cast members. Now, what's interesting here is I don't think James Gunn was just put into this position. When they talk about it happening quickly after Black Adam came out and it was because of the failure of Black Adam, I do not believe that. James Gunn himself has said that he has been writing the Superman movie for a while. He's been writing this story. And I think these things have been placed for a long time, which means that Warner Brothers Discovery did lead the fans on with Henry Cavill coming back, that it was their doing to try and bolster the movie sales. And I believe they're going to do everything they can to booster those movie sales going into these last 4 films because they're in the bag. They need to make their money back for them. But I think by announcing Gunn as quickly as they did, it should have been done late next year, and that they should have just gotten us hyped for the movies that were coming out, because they're going to be losing way more than they would have spent to keep those actors in those positions. It's a fact. Those of us who are not happy are not the minority. I'm sure there are some DC fans that are glad that they're rebooting, but I look at the history of Warner Brothers, and they have never followed through with anything. This goes back decades. The only thing that I think they have ever followed through with was the Dark Knight trilogy by Nolan, and they had minimal impact on those. So, who knows what is actually happening behind the scenes, but I do believe it does come down to money. Now, let's talk about The Flash. The Flash is interesting. There are rumors out there that the man himself, what's his name playing The Flash, is not going to be let go after the movie gets released, that he will continue to be The Flash. There are also rumors out there that Gal Gadot may continue to be Wonder Woman, because these are the people that aren't going to cost a lot of money to keep around. This would be ridiculous if they did keep Ezra Miller on tap, but get rid of everybody else when he's the one that had all of the issues. I just find this whole thing asinine. What I've come to realize is that David Zaslav is a cheap bastard, and this is what has caused a lot of the HBO Max stuff. They just pulled, if you haven't looked and you had this saved in your queue, they took off Game of Thrones, and they also took off Westworld. Those are now gone off of HBO Max, even though they were HBO Max shows. I think they're going to shop those to other streaming platforms and try to get money for them to do more in the future. I think Warner Brothers is going to be more about licensing their stuff out in the future to bring in money, but they are billions of dollars in the hole, and I don't think they're going to make that up with the current slate of films. I think because of how they've gone about doing all of this, that these movies are definitely going to suffer. Now, one interesting thing about The Flash is the fact that they did release, and this is a factual thing, I've got a picture here to show you guys of the new Batwing. There have been some merchandise pictures from some of the toys that will be coming out with the movies, and they have been released. And it looks like there's a new Batwing that's a more sleeker and more angular in design, which I think is pretty cool looking. And you can see it comes with a Batman, and it does come with a Flash in there. Out of all the films that are coming out this next year, I think The Flash is probably the one that's going to do probably the best. That's one I may go see if I don't get a chance to see it early. I will definitely go see that one. But, after Zachary Levi came out and tried to save face the other day, he would have been better off not saying anything. I lost all respect for Zachary Levi with his post. He was just saving face, trying to get people to go see the film, even though it's a road to nowhere. And I think it's a shame that he actually came out and did that in an attempt to keep his job. And that's what it basically comes down to. A lot of these people are sucking up to James Gunn. I've been watching a lot of the social media posts out there, and there are a lot of people saying this is a good thing going forward. And I would say it's not, because Warner Brothers never follows through with anything. What they should have done is finish the storyline with Darkseid, with these characters, had closure after 3 or 4 more films for another couple of years, then do a reboot and do whatever you want. But the way they went about this was it was a complete backstab to everybody. I've gotten over the anger that I had towards it. I'm indifferent at this stage, but they need to bring those characters back. They need to finish those stories. Otherwise, everything is going to suffer going forward, and I hope they realize this at this stage. All right, so there's my update for the week. There has not been a whole lot going on. I will be looking at more information for that date coming out on January 6th, which is the end of, obviously, next week. So that would be, what would that be? Would that be next Saturday? There might be an event going on where they might be announcing all of this stuff. Stick to my channel. You will be getting all of the DC news and stuff that's been getting thrown around out there. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video. We'll see you then.